Hey everybody, just want to give you a little help on this absolute value and opposites assignment. These are all problems from the book as it says up here, but really again you're entering them into Schoology. It's a Schoology assignment. I've just kind of taken the book problems and cut and paste them into the Schoology so you can enter them in and see how you did, get right or wrong, and see if you're going to get 80% or not. So again, you're going for that. You're going to write all your work and all the answers on the notebook paper. Okay. Just talking about some of the first ones here. I think some of these first ones are pretty self-explanatory. What's the opposite of negative 2? This talks about if it gives you a number, take the absolute value. Is it positive or negative? But going on to that next set, I'm on Notability here, so I just pulled all the book problems into here just so I can write on them for you. This next set says for the given values of A, find the opposite of A. That's a way of writing that when it has a little negative sign in front. The opposite of A and the absolute value of A. So for each of the numbers they give you there, you're going to find first the opposite of it and then the absolute value of it. And you're going to list them down below in those answers. So here's number 23. It says A is 6. So the first thing is, what's the opposite of 6? That's another way of saying that, which is be negative 6. And then you're also going to answer what's the absolute value of 6, which the absolute value of 6 would just be 6. Okay, so when you enter them in blanks 1 and blanks 2, first one will be negative 6, second one will be positive 6. Okay, well, let's take a look at the next one, number 24. It says A is negative 3. So, again, this is really a way of saying what's the opposite of negative 3. Well, that's going to be positive 3. Okay, and then when you say what's the absolute value of that number, what's the absolute value of negative 3, you're also going to say positive 3. So notice that sometimes you might have two different answers, and sometimes they might be the same answer. It just depends on the problem. You gotta, again, for each number, find the opposite of it, find the absolute value of it. And if you think about them carefully in terms of what it can be, you'll see how those are going to work out for you. Okay. Continue to move along here. Again, we go through some of them kind of quick. This next set here, there's 4 questions where it says true or false. And if it's false, then you give a counter example. Like, again, something that would disprove this statement. This first one, let's go through the first one here. It says if a number is a positive integer, then the number is a whole number. And so you have to think, okay, if I have any number that's a positive integer, is that always the case where that will also be a whole number? Or positive integers would be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on, right? Without decimals. And if we're talking about the positive ones, it'd be this list and going on. Whole numbers is really this list, but it also includes 0. But that means that, yeah, if I pick out any positive integer, it will for sure be a whole number. So I'd say this first one is true, okay? If there's one where you think that it's false, then you list a number that you also think would disprove that particular statement like we talked about. So if you say false, then also pick a number or pick something that would say, oh, this is why it's not true. Okay. Same thing for that next set. Again, some more true, false. Then there's one where you have to figure out which one is the whole number. Okay. This one in particular here. Some of these will simplify, like when you have two negatives, remember they cancel out to make a positive. This one's the absolute value. You may have to simplify that a little bit as well, the 18 over 9. So each of them is just a little different, but try to simplify them as much as you can and then determine which one is the whole number. Okay. Error analysis ones are kind of similar to that too. As you look at number 40, it says, given all these numbers, they're all supposed to be negative. Well, that first one is negative of negative 2, so you may have to simplify that a little bit. What about negative 4? Or if you take the absolute value of 8 and then you make it negative, okay, or negative 0.3. So if you simplify all those, one of them, okay, whenever there's the big red X, it means that something is not true, and then you're going to find out that one of them is not a negative number. So which one is it? Same idea for 41. All of them are positive numbers, it's saying, but it's wrong, so one of them must be negative. Which of those in 41 is going to be the one that's negative, okay? Then this set 42 through 49. On all these, it tells you that X is negative 0.5. These are definitely ones that I would look for a little bit of work on, okay? You have to write something down in your notebook paper, like number 42, that first one. It says negative X, so that means negative of, and then I put in the number that they gave me, which is negative 0.75. And when I do that, I'm going to see these two negatives are going to cancel out, so this one would just be 0.75. for my answer, okay, which doesn't take a lot of work, but I do want you to write things down as you would plug them in. Let me skip ahead to one like 48, then maybe just change color. Here's 48, okay. 48 says I'm going to take the absolute value of both of those, right? Both the numbers that I put in for X, which both times this should be negative 0.75. But again, on your paper, you would write something like this first, okay? So here's me writing something in my notebook paper, and then I'm going to simplify. Absolute value of negative 7.5 would be 0.75. And same thing for this next one. Okay. When I add them together, I'm going to get 1.5. So number 48 should be 1.5 or 1.5. But yep, I want to see at least a little work. Okay. Same thing for 49. Same thing for 45. Okay. All those, you'll plug the number in, you'll simplify, and you'll get down to some final answer. But there should be a little bit of work to go along with. Okay. And then some of the word problems, again, a lot of these deal with absolute value as well, so just read them carefully. There's usually somewhere to enter an answer. Okay, number 56 is multiple choice. 57 even talks about complete part B in your notebook paper, but you don't have to enter anything there, but you should have to enter part A for sure, and I think even 58 is a little cut off on my screen here, but I think that one's kind of similar too. One part you enter, other part you just explain on your paper. All right. Hopefully that helps a little bit, guys. Let me know if you still have any questions.